Hello, welcome to my new channel, Retrospectology, where I will be looking at the history with a retrospective lens, which just means to look back at events that took place or works that were produced in the past. And that's our focus here. I've been really inspired by researching history ever since I came across Mudflood, Star Forts, Tartaria. I've been researching for the last 2 years now, and I've got a lot of questions. I've been gathering lots and lots of research, lots and pictures, lots of concrete, undeniable proof to how the past was a little bit more advanced than we might have thought or been taught to think about it. So here we go. First, couple of things we want to look at is all of the lists of world's fairs that took place in the early 1800s. So why were all these expositions built? What was the point? Why so many expositions all around the world? By who organized this? This is an early horse and shovel times. So how were they able to organize and plan while they were still building cities? So these are some of the things that we will be going over. Who funded these? How were all the exhibits organized? The logistics. Why was different art from all around the world charaded around in train cars just to be displayed in different exhibits? Worldwide participation during the 1800s, where there was a lot of civil war and revolutions going on. So was there a race war? Why were there so many human zoos in these expositions? It just brings up a lot of questions. Why would they be importing people and building their villages just to display them? What was going on? The planning, who planned all this? Like, where did the education come from for planning all of these massive architectures and beautiful grounds and parks that were involved in the organization of the grounds? There's a lot of geomancy that seems to be involved. Like, what was the intention of these exhibitions? All right, education. Who taught these people to build like this? What happened to all the books and knowledge of such marvelous architecture building and work and planning? Like, why is that now not available to everyone if we were capable of doing such amazing feats 100 years ago? Education. What was the main education at the time? What were people learning in the 1800s? It seems like they were just farming, but from the looks at this pictures, they seemed like they had a little bit more knowledge than just being normal farmers. All right. Sorry if this is all over the place. It's my first recording live, so I hope you are enjoying my points. Social culture. What was going on at these times? What did a normal person who attended the fair, what was his normal life like beyond the fair? Like, what was life around like at that time? What did people do on a normal day? Like, what was a full day's work? What did you do when you go home? Like, so a lot of questions are missing of how people lived during those times. So we're going to be trying to get details out of the expositions to figure out if we can get any idea of what was going on. The amount of expositions is almost overwhelming. It's just so many. They start in the late 17th century, 18th century, excuse me, and then they go on all 19th century. It seems like there's over 100 fairs here, maybe more, all around the world. They have all sorts of different names. Grand Concours International de Science at the International in Belgium, Brussels, International Exhibition in Glasgow in United Kingdom. Sorry. Yeah, they're all over the place. Here they are in Australia. That was the West Australian exhibition. So yeah, they go on. Many of them. The more famous ones are going to be your Chicago World's Fair World Columbian Exposition, which was one of the ones that they teach in our mainstream education, to tell us about these world fairs and how grand they were, and how great it was to attend one of these. So Chicago is one of the ones that they teach us, but there's many that we haven't found about. Like honestly, all these probably on the list I've never heard about, and they don't even have Wikipedia links. They just have probably references in books and stuff, and who knows where the archives of these are covered up in. So going back to my list, where am I? All right, that was the amount of expositions, which is a lot. How were they able to have expositions every year, and then war, and then expositions? This makes no sense. All right, technology. We're going to be going into the technology that was inside of these expos and exhibitions. What was introduced to the people in St. Louis when they had it in 1904? They had cars introduced. So in 1894, when they did it in Chicago, they introduced stuff like Cracker Jack and a blue ribbon. So it's all these different things that were introduced to our normal American society are still used to this day from these exhibitions. So what was there a goal to re-educate the society, population, and then have them go into a new direction? So we're going to be looking at that, the different ceremonies that took place, the craftsmanship that was involved in building all the massive buildings. It is absolutely amazing. They have so many statues, rivers, and little lagoons with fountains. It's absolutely beautiful, the amount of work that was put into these exhibitions just to construct them. It is absolutely amazing craftsmanship, and it seems like attention to details. Even though it seems like they only had so much time to build them, they somehow accomplished it. I don't know how true all that is, because we only have such empty archives. It's like the book is missing. All right, destruction. Why did they destroy all this beautiful grounds after just building them in a couple of years? They built them and then they burned them down after presenting amazing technologies to the people. Now they just had no efforts in ever maintaining these grounds, so they just let them demolish and fall apart, corrode. So we're going to be looking at that. The machinery that was inside these buildings also goes along with technology. The amounts of artisans that were available. What happened to that culture? Like, why don't we have statue makers and all sorts of different artisans, artists that create beautiful stuff for our viewing pleasures? Like, whatever happened to that? Like, why don't we have such a high culture of statue makers? Moving on, we have wood, and lots of it. Mainly, a lot of these exhibition buildings had lots of wood buildings, and the main kind of theory in the mudflood community is that a lot of these exhibitions were old cities that were cleaned up, and then they had a party and then they destroyed them. Well, I'm here to kind of clear the air, show everyone that these exhibitions were built from ground up, and we have to rethink the theory that maybe our current theories are a little incorrect, and we should just, it still is a little bit hard to accept, like, wow, we were able to build like that. But yeah, hopefully these pictures that I'm going to be showing clear all the haziness that is involved in these exhibitions, and why it is actually possible to build them. But what happened? Why did we stop? That's the new question. Why did we stop? Like, we were able to do that 100 years ago. You ask anybody now today, they can't do anything. They can't work with wood or metal. I mean, they don't even know what steam power is. And a lot of the exhibitions have tons of steam power involved in them. So we're going to be looking at all steam technologies, water technologies, and electrical technologies that were available to these people and being presented. What type of entertainment was being presented at the times of the exhibitions. We're going to be looking at how people were entertained during the day of at the exhibition, the fair. You know, you got your beer, you got your Coca-Cola, you got your Cracker Jack. What else was going on? Guilds, you know, the guilds that built all these exhibitions. Wow, impressive. What who taught them all of this? Like, we're talking brick guilds, wood guilds, you know, plaster guilds, painters guilds. Like, these are huge society of people that had educations. Like, what happened to their books? What happened to all their material that they learned from? Like, how did we lose all this great effort of construction? Like, all of a sudden, you know, nowadays everybody wants to be a business and a marketing, you know, they want to get a degree in that. And instead, 100 years ago, it seemed like the normal man had amazing construction and capabilities with his hand to work with his hands. So what happened? Why did we go back? Like, how did we devolve to today? Like, everything is so watered down and nothing is advanced. So what happened? Like, why did we lose that effort to make such grand world's fairs? Just a question. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Right. Was there ritual practice involved in these fairs? Is that why they burned them down and then made them look all geomantic? Was there some sort of advanced rituals between the master architects that were doing this? Also, we're going to be, like I said, covering all the wars in the 1800s, infantoriums that were present during these exhibitions, baby exhibits. That's pretty weird. But we're going to be trying to find out what they were about, because there's not too much information. All we know is that they were there. Plaster, lots of plaster. They loved plaster. It seemed like anybody in the 19th century just knew about plaster. And what happened to that culture of plastering and making statues for society to look at in beauty? And what happened? You know, how come we don't play with plaster and clay and mud when we were in school? The only thing we were taught was how to make a plaster mask. That's about it. How did they do it all? How was all this organized? From city to city, from town to town, you know, with people from all around the world that didn't speak English at the time. It wasn't like everybody spoke English like now. Like, it was just a bunch of languages. How are they still able to develop this like worldwide exhibitions at the 19th century? How did they do this? Like, what was their, you know, motivation? And then on top of that, they were building cities, you know, building the trains. All of America got created. So, like, how, like, is there some sort of cover up? Were we more technologically advanced in horse and buggy than they want us to believe? Like, how did technology start from 1865? The Civil War ended, and then all of a sudden it said, hi ho, and off to work we go. And every little city, I mean, we're not just talking about a couple towns around Chicago. We're talking about all the towns in Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas. You know, all these little mini towns have brick building. Some of them huge stone buildings. So, like, there's almost no record of that. So how are they able to do all this city building, and then on top of that, have fun and build exhibitions with all these rides and Ferris wheels and show people from all around the world to eat different food? So, hope that's not too much to process, but that's kind of like the basic breakdown of how I'm going to be doing this channel. We're going to be asking a lot of questions. There's nothing very structured to it. It's going to be very casual. I want everybody to have fun. I want everybody to ask questions. I want people to tell me I'm wrong. This is why I'm here. I'm kind of here because I don't want the mud flood community to look bad when we're like, oh yeah, those are ancient cities. Well, they were really not. So we're going to kind of show how they weren't. Okay. So first things first, you know, a lot of this probably is historical revisionism. So we're going to be looking at that. And historiography, which is the study of methods of historians of developing history. So they basically take a bunch of facts and make up a history based on old facts. Like, that's how history works. That's how chronology works. It really doesn't there's no actual scientific method to calculating how events happened in history. It's just literally a huge think tank. So I'm here to create retrospectology and continue on to this historiography. So I can create my own field that maybe puts off all the old bad history, and we can picture it in a more, clear way, so we can see what was going on, because it makes no sense. The past makes no sense. This is the only reason I'm doing this, because at first I believed that these were stone buildings, and now I know otherwise. So we went through the list. Okay, when you first Google this stuff on YouTube, this is what you get. World's Fairs, exhibitions, right? You get this. The first picture comes out, this huge glass, building. This was the one in New York, right? Huge glass palace. Like, wow, that's impressive. For 150 years ago, they're building glass palaces. Here's another picture of it. This one might be the first one in Britain. This is in 1851. So yeah, we're looking at these, and if the normal person comes at this, they're gonna be like, wow, what is this? What am I looking at? It looks like another world. Well, it almost is. That's a normal person. And look at the size of these architectures. Look at the size of the statue. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, because we don't really have too many videos of this stuff, only a couple pictures, and each picture is all around, like, it's from different viewing points of the grounds, and the grounds are so big, so it's kind of hard to picture what it would be like on the ground moving. I'm sure there's videos of this. It's all hidden. I'm sure there's this the amount of details that I'm going to show you is going to prove that they have all this stuff on video camera hidden somewhere, and they don't want us to see it. They just want us to see a couple of these pictures and then be kind of in cognitive dissonance to, like, whoa, look at all this grand architecture and like statues and huge, just everything's huge. Everything's just massive, like, just that was 100 years ago, like with exhibits, and there's buildings within buildings and balloons in building. It's just crazy. Giant Ferris wheels with train size carts. So massive cognitive dissonance when we're looking at these World's Fairs. They actually don't make sense. When you type in World's Fairs, you only get pictures of only a couple of them. But like when I go back, there's way more than a couple of them, as you can see. There's many of them, and a lot of them are undocumented, probably just like they never existed. So we're going to be trying to give light to them so that we know how many existed and try to figure out what's really going on here. So here we are, and kind of, yeah, so when a normal person jumps in this, they kind of get overwhelmed by a whole bunch of stuff from the past. It seems boring at first. Like, oh, this stuff is boring. Look at all these exhibits. The pictures are a little blurry. None of the archives are really clear. And it's hard to get to really what's going on. There's pictures of the Ferris wheel getting built. We will be looking at that. So without me talking too much, I just want to do a quick little presentation on the St. Louis World's Fair. It's going to be just screenshots, and I'm going to show how that it is possible for these grounds to be built. And I want you guys to have fun, let these pictures sink in, and we're going to be talking about all this stuff in full detail later on. I just wanted to do a quick little intro to my channel, get my feet on the ground and running. I'm very excited. We're going to be looking at a lot of stuff on this channel. I mean, like I said, we're going to be looking at mud floods, star forts, petrification, biogeology, Tartaria, giant people, hidden history, expositions, and red brick architecture. We're going to be doing this all the time, every day. I'm subscribed to literally all the mud flooders, all the researchers, whether you think the mountains melted or the mountain's an elephant or the earth's flat. Like, we're going to be looking at this stuff, and we're going to be trying to make sense of it in a retrospective way. So hopefully everybody has a fun time. Here's my little slideshow that I'm going to be presenting to you guys. So yeah, and we've been digging a lot on this on Discord. So just give me a little bit of time. Right now I'm just organizing archives. So if you want to share some archives, go ahead. We're going to be looking at all these archives piece by piece, detail by detail, trying to get as much as we can from these images that are very limited to us. We're gonna be looking at how the Eiffel Tower was built 130 years ago. So that's kind of impressive for people with horse and buggy. All right, so I just want to play some music, and I'm gonna scroll through these. Well, it's over and over. Oh, I know.
God's talking, said he would ride on the wind and tide. Hey, children, stop still. Listen to me. God walked down to the brandy sea. He declared that Eve was the son of man, and then he decided to destroy the land. He spoke to Noah. Noah stopped. He said, Noah, I want you to build me an ark. I want you to build it 3 cubits long. I want you to build it big and strong. I want it 50 high and 50 wide, so it will stand the wind and tide. It's oh Noah, oh Noah. Oh no, I got to go around on the bridge and try to listen. Oh no, oh no, oh no, I got to go around on the bridge and try to oh Noah, brother Noah, my God's talking, said he would ride on the wind and tide. Well, after the foundation was laid, then Noah began to hew and build. The ringing of the hammer cried judgment, the hewing of the saw cried sin repent. 100 years he hammered and sawed, building the ark by the grace of God. When the ark was done, God's voice was heard. He said, now Noah, let me tell you what to do. Call in the animals 2 by 2. So he called them in an ark, 2 by 2. He called the birds, the ox with the kangaroos. Then he called and jump back, Ham and Sham. Then God began to flood the land. He raised his hands to heaven on high, shook the stars and moon from the sky, shook the mountains, he troubled the sea. Hit the wind to his chariot wheel, he stepped on land, stood on the shore, and declared that time there wouldn't be no more birds.
All right, I hope you guys are enjoying this woodwork here. It's a lot of good pictures to look at. Just want to get some more music going, get these pictures rolling a little bit more. It's a nice machine. It's a nice drill. Heavy duty. All right, one more song. Look at this. Looks so modern. It's all wood. A nice paint job. All right. Boom. That's how they blew the trees out of the ground. Look at that. Oh, they just brought rocks. Let's just bring the rocks. Hey, bring the rocks. So there they are, the builders of the exhibitions. I hope this helps. We will be digging into these pictures individually at higher resolution. Be looking at what is on these grounds, what type of mud these people were digging to, what was available to. I mean, just in the last couple minutes, I hope that that was enough to show you that there is enough evidence that these were built by our people. It's just what happened. Where did we stop? Like, why did we stop building like this? Who took us over? Who took over our intellect? Like, I'm sorry, like, I feel dumbed down just learning that these, were built easily. But I mean, just looking at this, it just seems like it should have been a whole course on just the expositions in school alone. I'm a better person learning about these expositions now than I was before. That amount of exhibits inside alone introduced me to new ideas that have never been presented into our modern times. So I hope this really helped everybody. It's going to be on my new channel. I'm hoping to get everything started new. I just got set up to be on PC with new headphones. I hope you guys like them. It's going to be fun. We're going to be digging through a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff, guys. I have memes. I have pictures. I have tons of this stuff. All I do is save pictures. If there's a photo, I save it. I suggest you do the same. Who knows, 5 years, all this stuff might be gone. So the best thing we can do is just create our own archives, dig through the archives. I find a lot of fun just looking at the past because it's covered up. It's 100% covered up. We've gone back, and I hope you really enjoyed this. There's going to be more to come. Hope you have a great day. Thank you for listening to me ramble. It's been a lot of fun showing this, but we'll be diving deep. Have a good day. Thank you. I'm ending now.